Today I am at the Theatre Drury Lane in London, but I'm not here to talk about the theatre, even though this theatre is actually the longest standing theatre in the world. It was built in 1663, it then burned down in 1666 along with the rest of London during the Great Fire of London. It was rebuilt the year later and it's been performing as a theatre ever since. But I'm not here to talk about the theatre, I'm here to talk about the restaurant next door, which is called Jamie Oliver. And Jamie Oliver, if you don't know him, is a famous British chef. He actually came to prominence at a very young age. He was a pastry chef at the River Cafe in London, and the BBC were doing a documentary about it, and they interviewed him for maybe a minute, and he really popped on the screen. So they went back, did a screen test with him, and offered him his own show at the age of 24, which was called The Naked Chef, and he went on to worldwide fame. Now, he actually went on to have an empire of over 40 different restaurants, including Jamie's Italian and the restaurant called 15 that he developed as a social enterprise to basically help people who didn't really have many options after school, because Jamie Oliver is famously dyslexic. He left school at 16 and went on to be a multimillionaire chef. Now, unfortunately for him, his empire came to an end in 2019. Nothing to do with COVID. It was just to do with a downturn on the high street. He was struggling for footfall and he had debts of around 37 million. And it was reported that he put £12.7 million of his own money to try and save the restaurant group. But unfortunately, he couldn't. All of those restaurants closed. And he's now opened this as his comeback restaurant. Now, it's been operating for the past 2 years, so it's obviously going quite well. And this building next door is actually owned by the same building as the Theatre Drury Lane, and it's all owned by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who's a very famous person. He wrote lots of different musicals, including Cats, Starlight Express, Phantom of the Opera, Joseph and His Technicolor Dreamcoat. So Andrew Lloyd Webber has made a lot of money. He owns 6 of these theatres in London, and he owns this building next door, but he leases it out to Jamie Oliver for his new restaurant, Jamie Oliver. That's what it's called. Keep it simple. So let's go inside and see what Jamie Oliver is like and whether or not this lives up to the price tag. Okay, so here we are in the restaurant. Now, I've come early, come at 12 o'clock on a Friday, and Friday is usually the busiest day of the week, apart from the weekend. There's nobody in this restaurant. You just pan round, just you can see there's nobody here. So, okay, that's fine. So, yeah, it's, I don't know how popular this restaurant is. It is raining today. It isn't a very nice day. There's a storm in the air, so maybe people are not coming, but doesn't look like it's doing particularly well. Anyway, I've got the menus here. Now, this is the main menu, the a la carte menu. And the thing about Jamie Oliver is that it's traditional British cooking. Because of his heritage, he comes from Essex and he grew up in a pub where his mum and dad served food, so that's how he got into food. He then went to catering college when he was 16 and became a chef. He learned in some very good restaurants. But his whole ethos is trying to do nice, posh British food. So the menu here is of that ilk. So we've got prawn cocktail, Scotch egg, scallops, salad for starters, and the main course is fish and chips, chicken, beef pie, and duck. So all good, but the prices are quite expensive. So the starters range between £12 and £25 for the scallops. That's a lot. And then the main courses are around about £25 to £35, so that's quite expensive. And he's also got Chateaubriand on here, which is for 2 people, which is £55 per person, so quite expensive. So I'm not going for that menu because it's going to cost well over £100. He does do a set menu for lunch, so you can get 2 courses for £27 and 3 courses for £31. So I'm going for 2 courses because the starters, it's a short menu. The starters are mushroom soup, terrine or cod roe. Don't really like any of those. Main courses, we've got chicken and chips, steak Diane, grilled sea bream and rigatoni. So I'm going to go for the chicken chips, and the cameraman is having sea bream, and then there are only 2 desserts, Eve's pudding and crème brûlée, so we're going to go for those. So 2 courses for £27. Let's see what it's like. Right, the food has now arrived, and I have got chicken and chips with romaine lettuce. There's the chips on the side. Let's have one of the chips to start with. I always like to try chips. Crispy, hot. Nice. I would classify this more of a fry than a chip. It's a bit thinner than my normal chip. Very nice there. Right then. Okay, here's my chicken, which has been butterflied, so it's been cut down the middle and opened up. Got some lettuce with it, romaine lettuce with some Parmesan cheese and a really big piece of lemon, which I do like. I think lemon adds a bit of flavour to everything, doesn't it? But food looks amazing, looks really good, like the plate. Let's taste a bit of this chicken. It's been char grilled, so it's deliberately blackened, so you can see it's not been burnt. That's it's meant to be. Nice and thin. That's what you get when you butterfly it. You cut it, and then you can sort of smash it down a bit, so it's nice and thin, easy to cook. That char grilling really adds to the flavour. That's the initial burst of flavour. When you put it in, you can sort of taste that barbecue type flavour. If you've ever cooked any meat outside on your barbecue, that sort of comes a little bit char grilled, and tastes a little bit of charcoal. Really nice. The chicken, been well cooked. It's quite thin, but the lemon lifts it as well. Have a bit of this lettuce. Looks good quality. Looks like it's got some anchovies on the top here, so nice big anchovy. Don't know whether you like anchovies. I'm not a massive fan, but I'll try it because that's the way Jamie Oliver wanted it to be. So I'll go with his expertise on that. That's really tasty. Cheese works really well. I'm not a massive fan of anchovies. I'm getting a really fishy anchovy taste now. Not my favourite, but that's nothing to do with the dish. I think it's good quality anchovy, good quality lettuce, just not my preference. So I like this. This is really nice. It's a sort of modern twist on a British classic. Thank you very much. Modern twist on a British classic. So it's chicken and chips, but it's not like chicken and chips that I used to get when I was a kid, where it just put on the plate. This is a bit more upmarket, so quite like that. Now, the cameraman has got sea bream, so I'm just going to steal that for a second, because whilst we're here, let's try the sea bream as well. Take my knife and fork. Right, okay, let me just clean my knife because it's got quite a lot of Parmesan cheese on it. Wow, this looks amazing. So it's sitting on a bed of mash with some chives, and then we've got really nice pesto sauce with it. So let me just have that. Sorry, I just knocked that on the floor. Let's try a bit of this sauce. It does look really good. I mean, it's crispy on the top, which is just what you want when you've got a fillet of fish like this. That's actually mushy peas. It's not pesto sauce. It's so again, British classic. Oh, it's really nice. That's nice. Let's just have a little bit more of this mash. Had some mash recently at Wetherspoons that was dreadful. This looks a lot better. That's what I want from my mash. Tasty. It's got some chives and things in it. A little bit salty, nice and thick, made with real potatoes, probably within the last 15 minutes. Yeah, this is a really good dish. I'm going to have to give it back to the cameraman, unfortunately, and get back to my chicken and chips. So, great start by Jamie Oliver. See you again for the desserts. Okay, so the puddings have now arrived, and I've got Eve's pudding, which is a classic British dish. So, we've got a sort of cakey bit on the bottom, and then stewed apple on the top, and it's served with some warm, fresh custard. So, I'll pour a bit of that on top. Well, I do like the look of that. Well, that looks nice. You just put that to one side. I mean, this looks great. So this is the sort of thing that you might have got at school way back, but it probably didn't look like this. It would have been mass-produced, and the custard wouldn't have been nice and fresh like this. So we get a nice bit of that custard. It does look really good. You can see the vanilla in the custard, little dots. Wow, that's like an explosion of flavour. So the cake is really light and fluffy, really nice, melts in the mouth. The apple, some of it has been left as real apple, so it's sort of crunchy, and then there's a compote as well. Just the right temperature, just slightly warm, and there's custard. Let me have a little bit more of that because it's so nice. Have you ever had custard with cake when it soaks in and it sort of makes it slightly mushy, very sweet, very flavoursome, really nice. So if you don't know that combination, then I would definitely recommend it. But yeah, really, really nice, good start. Now, we've got 2 desserts because the cameraman has ordered the crème brûlée. And crème brûlée, quite flash. We've got nice sugar snap tweel on the top, some blackberries and a bit of mint. And then let's make sure that it's, let me just remove that for a second. There's the crème brûlée itself. Got a nice hard top, so hopefully it'll have a nice crack. Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Looks good. Nice bit of custard. It's nicely blowtorched on the top. It's just how I like it. Let's see what it tastes like. That's really good. Silky smooth custard. Really, really nice. Really flavoursome. Quite dense. It's cold, but really, really lovely, delicious. And then just enough of the crème brûlée topping, the sugar topping, gives it a bit of crunch. Also a bit of sweetness. Lifts it. Let me have a little bit of this as well. I'll have one of these blackberries. Blackberries do look very nice. It's really tasty. It's not just sugar. It's definitely got some flavour in there. It's sort of like a burnt caramel type flavour. Really sweet, really nice. Now, let me have a bit with the crème brûlée. Okay. Double crunch, double sweetness. Obviously my sugar levels are going to spike after this, but it's worth it. So these desserts are really good. Let me finish them and I'll see you for the wrap up. Okay, so here I am at the end of the meal at Jamie Oliver, and they very kindly allowed me to do some filming in the event space here, which is down the side, which is actually a really nice space, really high ceilings. And as I said at the start of today's video, this is actually part of the Drury Lane Theatre next door, so it's all part of the same building. There's actually a little side entrance here that you can walk in and go to the Drury Lane restaurant, which is a bit posh and a bit staid. It seemed a bit boring in there, so I wouldn't recommend that. I think Jamie Oliver is a much better place to come to. But this is an amazing building. I think this part of it, the actual restaurant, was added in the Edwardian period, which is at the start of the 1900s. So I think it's about 1905, so about 120 years ago. This part was built. That part was built in 1667 or something like that. So it's ancient, but it doesn't feel ancient. It's been really nicely modernised. The whole thing was closed down in 2019, just before COVID, and they did a full refurbishment, which took 2 years, and opened after COVID had finished. So lucky on the timing, because they missed the time when all the theatres had closed because of COVID. So what did I think of Jamie Oliver's signature restaurant? In fact, it's his only restaurant now, because unfortunately all of his other restaurants went bankrupt back in 2019 before COVID. He had those financial difficulties, so he's had to close down, and he's reopened this one. Well, I have to say, inside here, interior is fantastic. Really nice space, really upmarket, feels quite modern. They're playing nice music, it's a lively feel. It was very empty when I first arrived. It's filling up a little bit now. It's sort of around 1:30 now. So it's filling up now, but still not packed. So I don't think it's smashing it in terms of the revenue. But what about the food? That's the most important thing. That's what I'm here to talk about. I have to say, the menu, the short menu for the set lunch, was good. It's quite short, but it had a lot of choice on there. So I went for main course and the dessert, because you get 2 for £27, which I thought was a good deal. I didn't really like the look of many of the starters. Could have had them as well for an extra £4, but didn't do that. So we had the chicken and chips. Now the chicken had been butterflied, really nicely charcoaled, came with some fantastic chips, really tasty. The lettuce was very fresh, had some great cheese on there. Didn't really like the anchovy, but it did say anchovies and I didn't say take them off, so that's my fault. Chicken was really, really tasty. Overall, really good dish, and plenty of food, because one of the problems with these set menus is you can get sucked into buying some sides. So you think, oh, I better get some broccoli or something else on the side. You don't need it. There's plenty of food in a 2-course menu. You do not need any of those sides. So I didn't get any, didn't need them. The other thing we had was the sea bream, which came with a really nice mash. Fantastic mash, way better than Wetherspoon's mash. If you've seen my Wetherspoon's video, check that out if you haven't. The Christmas lunch one, awful. The mash there was dreadful. The mash here, fantastic, really tasty. Came with a really nice pea puree. I initially said it was pesto because it looked like it wasn't. And the sea bream had been cooked fantastically, really crispy skin on the outside, very fresh fish, really nice and light and flavoursome. The desserts were equally good. We had crème brûlée, perfectly cut, formed, really tasty, really sweet. Came with that nice little sort of caramelized snap, tasty, with some fresh blackberries. And then we have some the Eve's pudding, which was very light cake with some apple compote and some sliced apple on top, with a lovely fresh custard. So overall, food was amazing. I don't say that very often, but it was really, really good. And I think £27, what do I think of that? Let's have a look at the bill, because it was £27 for the set lunch. But of course, there's always some service. Now, I had tap water, which I think is the top tip if you're coming to these expensive restaurants. Everywhere has to give you tap water for free, so I didn't have to pay for that. So that was complimentary. But there is a service charge of 12.5% on top of my £54. So that gets me to a grand total of £60.75 for me and the cameraman. So that's just over £30 each. Now, £30 for lunch is quite expensive, so I wouldn't normally spend £30 on lunch. So I want it to be exceptionally good. This was pretty good. But you know, you have to weigh up the cost. So I mentioned Wetherspoons a moment ago. The great thing about Wetherspoons is that everything is good value. So even though the food might not be that great, you don't come out of there with holes in your pocket. Whereas here, £30 per person for lunch, quite a lot. So you have to take that into account. So what is my overall score? Well, the food was really good. It's quite expensive. It was a little bit empty, so the ambience wasn't as good as I was hoping for. But this is a good restaurant. I would definitely recommend it. I think my overall score for Jamie Oliver is an 8. 8 out of 10, which, as you know, if it's above 7.5, I would definitely come back, and I would certainly come back here anytime you like. If somebody wants to take me here, then feel free, because this is a great restaurant. So Jamie Oliver, hopefully it will pick up. Hopefully I'll get busier. Hopefully he'll start making money. He might open more of these restaurants. Let's hope so, because it's good food. It's good British food, and he's a good guy, and he's doing great things. He's helped a lot of schools in the UK, tried to get everybody eating healthier. So he's been doing good things, and he put a lot of his own money into trying to save his restaurant chain. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out, but that's the way business goes sometimes. But this restaurant, definitely recommend it. Good food. It's a little bit pricey. I would go for the set menu. If you're paying a la carte prices, then it's off the scale expensive, so I wouldn't recommend that. Come here, have the set menu. You can get it in the lunchtime or pre-theatre. If you're going to the Drury Lane next door, then maybe you have this and then pop in there. Job's a good one. So overall, I did like this restaurant. I would give it a recommendation. Thank you for watching this video all the way through to the end. Please give me a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you again on the next.